Hello people, my name is Ginny Metheral and I'm a 4th generation Irish witch, and I'm here today to talk to you about the rites and rituals that we're going to use in this year's Midsummer Festival. So each year has its own particular spell according to the rise and fall of the celestial orbs, the planets around us. But before we get into this video, I have a guest star message from someone who I have possibly been in love with all my life. Don't tell my husband. This is the great and magnificent Snoop Dogg.
This is Snoop D-O-double-G. Subscribe here to my homie Ginny Metheral. Yeah. And remember, if the ride's more fly, then you must buy.
Be still my beating heart. He's so lovely. Please do take Snoop Dogg's advice. Do some subscribing and some liking. That would really help me to make more videos like this for you. So this year, Midsummer falls on the 20th of June in the Northern Hemisphere, and it is at its highest point, the sun, at about 13:04 in Devon, where I actually live, which is in the southwest of the UK. Midsummer's Eve is the time when you would start your midsummer celebrations, at the moment when it falls to darkness, which is about 9:45 in this country. You would then light your bonfire and wait until the new sun had arisen on Midsummer's Day and worship its arrival. So Midsummer is a sun festival and is a basic celebration of the guardian of the sun. Now, the sun goddess has been known by many names throughout history. Litha is the Neo-Pagan pagan name, but I have always known of her as Fritha. And this is a celebration for her guiding and setting the sun on its course throughout the year so that we have our seasons. Well, worship we don't do so much anymore, but a bit of thanks and honouring wouldn't go amiss. So let's talk about the actual ritual that you would do as a traditional witch for Midsummer. Now, Midsummer does need a little preparation, and there are several things that we're going to need to do before we begin our festivities. Number 1 is build your bonfire. However, due to the forest fire that happened around our property recently, that was possibly our fault, we're going to have it in a brazier this year, and just a little sort of contained fire. It will do. You don't need a huge bonfire. You can have this tiny contained fire, which is what we've got. Number 2 is garlands of flowers. Now, we're going to use these garlands to decorate ourselves, and then, as part of the thanks and commemoration for Midsummer, we're going to throw them on the bonfire. These flowers, therefore, are of a particular type, and there are 5 main flowers that I am going to use because they have a special resonance with this time of year. So the 5 different flowers and herbs that we're going to use are foxglove, elder, lavender, rose, and St. John's wort. Now, if you don't have these flowers in your local vicinity, the best thing to do is just to pick the native plants, the native wild flowers that are around at this time of year. Pick those native flowers and you can use them in your garlands. They will have a similarity of magic and power that the 5 flowers that we're going to use do have. Firstly, let's look at foxgloves. Now, legend says the fairies touched the flowers to give them their spots and also gave the fox, that sly old Reynard, permission to wear the flowers on his feet to muffle their sound when stalking his prey. It has an august history for healing by the cunning winning of the old times, and eventually Dr. Withering in 1775 reported that digitalis was the active ingredient and so helpful in dropsy, epilepsy and mainly heart conditions. However, it is highly poisonous, so please don't go around eating foxgloves, and can lead to something called xanthopsia, where eyesight perceives objects as yellow and green with blue halos around them. Vincent van Gogh was reputed to be suffering from this condition when he painted this picture of his doctor, Paul Ferdinand Gachet, holding a foxglove. So the flower of the foxglove is included in our garland for the representation of good health. So our next flower is the rose. This is the flower of the moon rather than the sun, but it brings with it the sun's counterpart, and also it is a traditional flower for love. So important in a garland to have a flower bringing love and happiness, for of course the rose does not just bring romantic love, but love for all, be it familial, for your pets, love for your friends, or love for your country. Also for me, I find it quite difficult to grow roses, and therefore it's a bit of a sacrifice to pick one, which is great when you're commemorating Fritha, one of the 12 great guardians of this earth, on your midsummer bonfire. Our next flower is lavender. Now there are so many different herbal and medical properties to lavender, which I have already gone into in a previous video, so I'm not going to talk about it here, but I will put that video up on the screen for you to watch if you should choose to do so. But in this instance, as part of our strewing onto our bonfire, it is following the tradition of the Druids who used it to help for the hearth, home and happiness. Lavender, therefore, is for joy and happiness. The elder tree holds a spirit who can give both good and harm. Her fruits and her flowers are blessings to us all, and it was believed that planting an elder tree around your boundary keeps away evil spirits. The elder, therefore, is included in our garland and in our bonfire to ward off the evil spirits. Finally, I'm going to include St John's wort into our bonfire. This was known as chase devil because it did keep away devils, witches, oh dear, and lightning. Should you be scared of lightning, do put it on your bonfire. It was the original flower of midsummer though, and that is why it is included in our garland and bonfire strewing ceremony. This year, midsummer means that the sun starts to rise in Cancer on the 21st. This sun in Cancer brings about prosperity for the hearth, the home and happiness, and therefore if we cast a spell now for hearth, home and happiness, it will then come to fruition at the end of the year on the 30th of December when the sun next rises in the sign of Cancer. This spell for hearth, home and happiness is a very simple one, but we do need to do a couple of things. We need to get some moon water. Now, what, I hear you say, is moon water? Well, it's very simple. Moon water is simply taking a copper bowl, like this one. I've got a copper bowl here. If you don't have a copper bowl, a normal bowl is fine. I want to take your copper bowl. I want to fill it with spring water and then leave it outside on a windowsill if you haven't got a garden for the moonlight to touch. Get your wand, wave it across the top of the copper pot and ask the moon to put forth its energy into the water. Then leave it out in the moonlight. It won't take long. It will take 3 minutes, or you can just leave it out all night. And then in the morning, you will have moon water, which is energised with the properties of the moon. Now, because this is moon water from midsummer, in my small pot, I have, if you can see, floated some petals containing rose and lavender, because these are part of our garland, and it just brings their extra energy into that moon water. Don't worry if you don't have any rose and lavender petals to add to your water that you're leaving out for the moon. It just, makes the spell just a tiny bit stronger, brings it all together, but it's not an essential characteristic for this spell. So I've picked all my elements for my garland, and I'm going to make it and then place it in my bowl mixed with moon water. So once you've made your moon water and you've made your garland, I want you to take your garland and put it in the moon water to soak up that magical properties before you wear the garland. So that's the preparations done. And we need to do one more thing, which is cast a circle. And if you don't know how to cast a circle, I'll put my cast a circle video here for you to have a look at. So take your wand and cast a circle around the bonfire. Then stand within the circle and ask for the blessings of the sun guardian Fritha to pour forth her energy into the circle in order to bring your home happiness and cheer. The spell is then very simple. You just put your garland on, go out, light your bonfire, enjoy your bonfire, have festivities with your family and your friends, maybe a drink, maybe something to eat, maybe some dancing, a bit of singing, a bit of banging some drums, whatever you feel like, however you wish to celebrate a bonfire. Stand around it, stare into the flames. That's what I normally do, actually. At the end of the evening, the spell is then finalised by you take your garland off and take the individual flowers from your garland and strew them into the bonfire, asking for the blessings on your home of happiness, peace and joy. When you've cast all your flowers into the bonfire, that is the end of your spell, and it will come to fruition on the 30th of December. You'll feel it coming into your house before then, but the abundance of joy and happiness will come over Christmas. So it's a good spell to do, actually. So here I am, garlanded up to the eyeballs, being beset by all the bees and butterflies around the place, actually. I'm waiting for our festivities to begin. But in the meantime, I really hope you enjoyed our video. And let me know in the comments below, give us a thumbs up, and I'll see you for a really cracking 4th of July video next week.